In the fall of 1888, fear gripped the streets of London's East End. A brutal killer prowled the dark alleys of Whitechapel, targeting women with unimaginable violence. His crimes were swift, savage, and shocking. Despite one of the largest manhunts in history, he was never caught. His name would echo through the ages, Jack the Ripper. Welcome to True Crime Archives. Tonight, we revisit one of history's most infamous unsolved mysteries, the Jack the Ripper murders. The Ripper wasn't just a killer. He was the first figure in history to become a symbol of serial murder, his identity forever lost in the fog of Victorian London. More than 130 years later, the case still fuels debate, investigation, and fascination. To understand the murders, we must first understand Whitechapel. In 1888, London's East End was a place of desperation. The streets were overcrowded, poverty was rampant, and crime was a part of daily life. Many women turned to prostitution simply to survive. These narrow, poorly lit alleys became the hunting grounds for the Ripper, who blended into the shadows of gas-lit London. The murders began on August 31st, 1888, with the killing of Ann Nichols. She was found with her throat slit and her body mutilated. Days later, Annie Chapman was discovered in a backyard with organs removed, shocking even the most hardened investigators. On September 30th, two murders occurred the very same night. Elizabeth Stride, whose throat was cut before the killer was likely interrupted, and Catherine Eddowes, who was brutally mutilated just 45 minutes later. Then came the murder of Mary Jane Kelly on November 9th, considered the most savage of all. Her body, discovered inside her own room, was mutilated beyond recognition. These 5 women became known as the Canonical Five, believed to be the true victims of Jack the Ripper, as the killings spread fear throughout London. Hundreds of letters poured in claiming to be from the killer himself. Most were hoaxes, but a few stood out. The infamous Dear Boss letter introduced the name Jack the Ripper, a name that newspapers quickly adopted. The saucy Jackie postcard followed, and then the chilling From Hell letter, which was sent along with half of a human kidney, believed to have belonged to one of the victims. Whether these letters were truly from the killer or simply cruel jokes remains uncertain, but they added to the terror gripping the city. The London police faced immense pressure. Detectives like Inspector Frederick Aberline scoured Whitechapel, but Victorian-era policing lacked the tools we take for granted today. Forensics were primitive, fingerprints were not yet used, and DNA was unheard of. Crime scenes were chaotic, evidence was easily contaminated, and the Ripper always seemed one step ahead. The media frenzy only made matters worse, as newspapers sensationalized every detail, spreading panic and speculation far beyond Whitechapel. Over the years, hundreds of suspects have been named. Montague John Druitt, a barrister who committed suicide shortly after the murders, was considered by some to be the killer. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant with a history of mental illness, remains one of the most frequently cited suspects, especially after DNA tests on a shawl linked to Catherine Eddowes hinted at his involvement. Francis Tumblety, a quack American doctor, and Walter Sickert, an artist later accused by novelist Patricia Cornwell, were also considered. Even conspiracy theories suggested Prince Albert Victor, grandson of Queen Victoria, though most historians dismiss this as fiction. None of these suspects have ever been proven guilty, leaving the question of Jack the Ripper's true identity unanswered. The brutality of the murders led many to believe the killer had medical knowledge. The precise removal of organs suggested a surgeon, a butcher, or someone skilled with knives. Others argue the killings could have been the work of multiple individuals rather than one man. Some believe the authorities themselves knew more than they revealed and perhaps even covered up the truth. Still, none of these theories explain everything. The mystery remains intact, making Jack the Ripper one of the most debated cases in true crime history. Jack the Ripper was more than a killer. He became the first global serial killer figure, a symbol of fear and the subject of endless speculation. His crimes inspired books, films, and a century of investigation. But perhaps what makes the Ripper so haunting is that after more than 130 years, the case remains unsolved. We know his crimes, his cruelty, and his name, but not his face, his voice, or his identity. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror turned Whitechapel into a place of nightmares. Was he a doctor, a butcher, a madman, or someone hiding in plain sight? Until conclusive evidence emerges, the identity of Jack the Ripper will remain one of the darkest unsolved mysteries of all time. If you enjoyed this episode of True Crime Archives, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more unsolved cases from around the world. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Let us know in the comments, who do you think Jack the Ripper really was?